Okay, honest question. Are you tired of boring phones? I mean, are you sick of these giant companies getting on stage every single year, promising us a revolution, and then delivering something that feels, well, pretty much the same? It really feels like that era of tiny incremental upgrades might finally be over. We're going to get into it because a new leak suggests the smartphone spec war is back, and it's more brutal than ever. For what feels like forever now, the smartphone market has just been kind of stuck. You know that feeling? There's just this sense of stagnation where a new phone doesn't have that wow factor anymore. It really felt like hardware innovation just hit a brick wall. Yeah, instead of real tangible leaps forward, we've basically been fed a steady diet of software gimmicks. The biggest innovations have been what? Slightly smaller bezels? Another AI chatbot that nobody really asked for? Or maybe, if we got really lucky, a new color? It's been pretty underwhelming, let's be honest. But what if that's all about to change? What if the next huge shift isn't about some clever new software, but about a company taking a massive gamble on pure, raw hardware power? A leap so big it could honestly change everything. So let's talk about this era of boring phones. It really felt like between 2024 and 2025, big tech just collectively decided that physical upgrades weren't the priority anymore. All the R&D, all the money just seemed to get funneled into software instead. And you could feel it in the market. I mean, when you're dropping $1,500 or more on a new flagship phone, you expect more than just a software update, right? You want to feel a genuine leap in what the thing can do. People were absolutely starved for it. And this quote from the source material just sums it up perfectly. Hardware innovation was reduced to millimeter alterations in display bezels. That's exactly it. We weren't getting revolutionary new cameras or way bigger batteries. We were getting these tiny little tweaks. It was all iteration, not innovation. And then, bam, mid-February 2026, an absolutely explosive report drops that sends a shockwave through the entire tech world. A leak about the upcoming Xiaomi 18 Pro suggested a move so audacious, so aggressive that it just shattered the industry's calm. 400. That was the magic number. And get this, it wasn't 400 megapixels in one sensor. Nope. The leak pointed to two separate, simultaneous 200 megapixel sensors working together inside one phone. A 400 megapixel camera system. The Megapixel War wasn't just back, it had gone nuclear. Now, I know what you're thinking. Hang on, we've been here before, right? The old megapixel wars were mostly about slapping a big number on the box to trick people into buying the phone. So is this just history repeating itself? Is it all just marketing fluff? Well, this time, it seems to be different. This isn't really about the number on the spec sheet. The key thing to get is that those 400 million pixels aren't for making gigantic photos you can print on a billboard. They are the raw data, the raw light information needed to feed a terrifyingly powerful AI processor that's designed to, well, computationally reconstruct reality. And that brings us to the engineering. Because pulling this off, it's not just hard, it's borderline impossible. Xiaomi is facing some truly colossal challenges trying to tame 400 million pixels inside a little device that has to fit in your pocket. So the architecture they're proposing is just radical. On one side, you've got the main wide sensor. It's a physical giant, a full 1-inch sensor built for one purpose, to soak up as much light as humanly possible. But then, on the other side, and this is the real marvel, you have another 200 megapixel sensor dedicated entirely to the telephoto lens, which enables something called lossless hybrid zoom. The whole process is an engineering wonder. The instant you hit that shutter button, a literal flood of data from 400 million pixels smacks the processor. The AI core, the ISP, and NPU working together instantly analyze and rebuild the image. That massive file then has to be written to incredibly fast storage, all while a crazy cooling system stops the phone from literally melting. And all of this has to happen in a fraction of a second. But there are three absolutely brutal hurdles to overcome. First, shutter lag. How do you process that much information without a noticeable delay? Second, the data bottleneck. A single raw photo could be 180 megabytes. Your storage has to be insanely fast to handle that. And third, thermal meltdown. All that number crunching generates a terrifying amount of heat. Okay, so after all that mind-bending engineering, what does it actually do for you, the person taking the photo? Why should you care? Well, this kind of tech could give you photographic superpowers that were just unimaginable in a phone until now. The secret ingredient here is a technique called pixel binning. Now, 95% of the time, you're not actually taking a 200 megapixel photo. Instead, the phone's brain computationally merges a bunch of tiny pixels together to create one giant super pixel that can capture way more light. Xiaomi is reportedly using an advanced 16-in-1 method. All right, think about this super common problem. You're at a concert or a game, you zoom in to get a shot of the stage or the action, and what do you get? A blurry, pixelated mess. Traditional digital zoom is just awful. The solution is that second 200 megapixel telephoto sensor. It lets the phone do something called in-sensor cropping. By having so much extra resolution to play with, the processor can just crop into the middle of the image to give you a 10x or even 100x zoom that stays crisp and clear. The days of blurry concert photos could be over. And here's another one everyone has dealt with: taking pictures at night. You try to capture the vibe of a dimly lit bar or a cool city street, and you just end up with this dark, grainy image full of digital noise. It's frustrating. And this is where that 16-in-1 pixel binning becomes a superhero. By creating those giant superpixels, the camera can pull in an unbelievable amount of light. It allows the phone to produce these impossibly bright, clear, and colorful photos, even in near total darkness. The source material called it cyberpunk night vision. And you know what? That's the perfect name for it. So if we zoom out a bit, what does all this mean for the big picture? I mean, this isn't just about one crazy phone. This leak really signals a new era for photography, one where the raw computational power of the silicon inside the phone is becoming more important than the traditional physics of the glass lens. And this comparison just puts the whole leap into perspective. Look at the 2025 standard. A single 200 megapixel sensor, maybe 4-in-1 binning, running on UFS 4.0 storage. Now look at the rumored Xiaomi 18 Pro for 2026. Dual 200 megapixel sensors, 16-in-1 binning, and it requires next-gen UFS 5.0 storage and basically laptop-grade cooling. This isn't just an evolution, it's a completely different species of device. Which leaves us with this final, really provocative question. For over 100 years, great photography has been defined by the quality of the glass in the lens. But if a phone can use 400 million pixels and a powerful AI to computationally build a perfect image, has that era ended? Is the future of photography no longer about physics, but about code?